arms behind and gently rotating the head. The other way. Good. Now let's rub the hands and do the knees. Knees, but with a view of getting the belly, lower back working. And then the hands together again. And then up and out, forming two fists, like the stick exercise. So now twisting. It's the same region we're working, but now different muscles. Trying to get the twisting coming as low down as possible. And now tipping. So side bends. The same region, but different muscles again. Feel the muscles either side. One side is contracting, the other side is being stretched. Just one hand facing up and turning the head. So we let it develop. We keep repeating until the spirit wakes up a little bit. And then we get this thing we call switching, where it feels like everything's reversed. because it's now the spirit activating everything rather than the will. Good. And then feel the posture, sitting down into the sacrum and the middle fingers directing the thymus upwards. A sense that those 2 points are in a vertical alignment. So let's rub the hands again, and we'll do the eyes. And then the eyes. Then the hands up, pointing the 2 fingers. Now keeping the head still, just looking down the left arm to the left hand, and then looking the other way to the right. Feel the energy following the eyes. There's a flow from the neck down the arm to the fingers, like a flow of relaxation. And the hands up and down again. Now up and down. So the hands go up and down. Head stays still, but the eyes follow the hands. And then with one hand, just make a fist and place it on the belly, so on the Dan Chen. So that's like the tightness, the clenching in the belly that's always there to some degree. And then the index finger in front of the nose, changing the focus of the eye. So looking at the finger and then looking as far in the distance as you can. And back to the finger and distance. And swapping the hands around. The same thing, but now just imagine the point where your eyes are focusing is like an object. So here I'm focusing on the finger, then to change the focus, it's like I have to push an object. So I have to push my eyes open So it's slow. I move towards the wall at the back slowly, and then I slowly draw the eyes back in. And feel that action coming from your belly lower back. So when I pull my eyes in to focus on the finger, I'm tightening my belly, pulling my dantian in. To send the eyes out, I'm tightening the lower back, pulling the Ming Men in. Good. And hands together again. And up and out again, pointing the fingers. And now snaking the hands, keeping the head and the eyes still, becoming aware of the peripheral vision, the movement. Now hands behind again, but holding the elbows. Feeling that point on the spine where the arms cross, pulling in to thrust the chest upwards and help you drive down into the cushion. Then let's try just a bit of the butterfly. The spine in this is similar to the riding horse spine. Got this curve. It's like the back of a circle. And stretching a leg. And the other side. The other side again. And the other side. The squat. So if you rock from side to side a bit, then you can sort of feel the sacroiliac as you come into the leg. My sacrum here, where it hits my hip, almost swells. And let's do a little bit of the plank. Just a minute or so. And just up into the sumo squat. Feel the feet on the floor. Feet are just extensions of your sitting bones. And then coming up, just feeling the drive down as you're driving down the spine into the sitting bones, down into the feet, and slowly coming up, trying to keep the spine as vertical as possible. Just feel how far the ground feels away since we've been crouching for so long. And then loosening the body, so just a slow jog. The idea is to get this sloshing from side to side, the single weightedness. Feel the head suspended. Remember that lovely image of John's? You're like a heavy overcoat hanging on the coat hanger. And here's the hook of the coat hanger, and that's hanging on the bar in the wardrobe. And you're just hanging down. So feel the hang. Remember, the sacrum slips forwards when I get myself hanging from above. This is one of the interesting things about posture. When we hang from above, we have a slightly different position of the sacrum than when we come up from the ground. So this is really important, this exercise, because it just develops that spring in the legs. So the heel's always off the ground. The feet need to be quite strong to step the way that we do. This thing of coming around the foot, putting the big toe down first. Wonderful. So let's just start by moving side to side. The jogging on the spot in that really relaxed, loose way. It's like it allows air to come into the body. And we want that air to settle into the joints. So each joint feels springy. So the bones are never allowed to touch each other because there's a cushion of air in each joint. Over two legs, one leg pulling, the other leg pushing. One leg filling, the other leg emptying. Feel the arms. Remember, the arm is the hand, the forearm, the upper arm, and the shoulder blade. And the arm moves by the shoulder blade coming away from the spine. The movement gets into the fingers, or the energy does anyway, last of all. First, it swells out from my spine and then reaches down into the fingers. We want the same feeling in the leg. So the hip is the equivalent to the shoulder blade. So as I bring my heel up here and sink into this leg, it allows the hip to feel like it's coming away from the sacrum. That sends like a ripple of energy down the leg, and then the foot can catch the ground with that energy and start pulling me back into the leg. foot is pulling the ground, and as though it's scooping the ground up into my belly. Good. And then riding 4 horse, but still with that air in the system. The joints sort of sprung open, especially around here. You can see it in the human being, especially, like strong people, got a lot of muscle, like bodybuilders, got these enormous thighs that flare out, this big V-shaped chest, but a real tightness, narrowness here. So they can have like 60-inch chests and 28-inch waists. And so it's clear that this is problematic, this area. It's like all the sinking has to funnel down into this narrow tube before it can then flare out again. So there's blockage, it's so easy for stuff to get stuck here. Just feel the gravity. The image of gravity really is rain, which is a beautiful image. But also if you think of the mud, the slurry, like a liquid with a mud suspended in it, slowly the particulates are settling. So it's slowly becoming clear, but it can take days. And any disturbance and it will come back up again. So there's this feeling of very slow trickling or sinking down through the body. At the same time that you've got this downwards of the particulate material, you've also got the sediment that's building up from the bottom and coming up the legs. So that's sinking. So the particulate material, it's solids, even though they're very small, and they're traveling down. But the actual water, the fluid, is endlessly moving. It's got all these currents and twists and turns and tiny vortices and within it, and that's our body as well. Endlessly trying to relax across the sacrum so that this can pass through this narrow waist. But when you get the relaxation across the sacrum, then you'll naturally find yourself settling into the outside edges of the feet. And now let's just do the pulling in exercise. So reaching forwards and pulling in. Feel the reach, like a timid creature that has to venture out from its lair in order to catch something to feed, but it's really careful. So listening. The listening of the hunter. Listening to the sounds and reading the traces. This is the sense in which we're reading all the time. Our image of movement is climbing a rope. It's exactly what's happening here. I'm reaching out and pulling something. So I'm pulling myself along the rope. And then let it become the two circles. It's not that much different. You just don't poke out as far. And try and get the turning a little bit stronger. So my peripheral vision is scanning all the way around to the back. And then same thing, but with 1 foot forwards. Now really feeling the circling around the foot as you bring the weight into it. So using the hand that's on the same side as the leg we're coming into to brush the knee to help keep myself in the outside edge. I'm just circling the foot with my hand, but also with my mind and my weight, so that the instep can suck the ground, draw something up. Feel the foot, the stethoscope of the foot, auscultating, listening. Yeah, so I'm extending down with my listening into the ground, but at the same time, I'm sucking information up from the ground. I'm skirting. I never confront things face on. I'm slipping around them to try and get behind. Now let's change the feet. Same thing. Circling around the foot. And then begin to get the other hand involved. So as I circle around this foot, I'm using this hand, left hand, left foot, to send the knee out and to circle around the foot. But as I do that, I can use the other hand to draw the weight or the energy up from the ground. So one hand is circling and the other hand is pulling something up. So this hand is circling and this hand is drawing the weight up. So I end up holding the ball. So I've effectively done the figure of eight. But it's quite tricky because one hand is sort of making the circle and the other one's just coming up from the ground. The feeling that all of this activity is in my lower body, so beneath the level of my hips, around about the knees, if not lower. And then just back to the slurry, the settling. Now, it's breathing, but very gentle. My spine is like a tender sapling, gently blowing in the breeze. Flexible the spine is with all of its bones and joints. We want the feeling that the legs are similar, since the legs are extensions of my spine. Imagine you're in the water, so it's difficult for the arms to move. And then it becomes like the rubbing the knees exercise we do sitting down. It really gets the lower back belly involved, all coming from that motor. And just get a little bit of turning into it. Doesn't really matter how you turn. As I turn to the side, something extends up my spine from the ground. As I turn back to the front, it's reeled back in. And then let it become a simple turning, but the same, because it's coming from the legs rather than just from here. It's going to have that same breathing quality, the same feeling that my chest is coming up as I turn to the side, and then my chest is being pulled down into my belly as I turn back to the front. So that's there, even though the arms are just swinging around. Good. And now let's just try some of the figure of eight. Let it calm down. And so it becomes riding horse, but it's sort of still there, that turning and the movement up and down, the shifting from side to side. Feel the space. Space around you, the space within, the transcendental field, the space sparkling with spirit, the space alive. Pure stream of a personal pre-reflexive consciousness without a self. That spirit is energy that doesn't really refer to anything. You know, it's just there and it's moving at infinite speed. So think of, like transcendental meditation, where they just repeat a mantra and slowly they get into like a trance and heightened awareness. And suddenly everything is different because they're now aware of a different reality than when they're in just normal mundane mode. That's what we're trying to do all the time. Slip into a trance. Slip into the transcendental field. You think of Castaneda, he realized after a point that all the teaching that he was receiving was being imparted to him under heightened awareness. And when he came back into his normal awareness, he couldn't remember what on earth had happened. So he then had to spend all the years practicing to retrieve those nuggets that Don Juan had embedded in him. So in order to become one with the transcendental field, you need to really quieten down. Because if you're listening to yourself, you can't listen to what's outside, or you can't listen to the energy, to the spirit. When people say to me, "Oh, I can't feel energy," and I say, it's just because you're too noisy in your head. If you shut this up, you won't feel anything else. Let's just try a little bit of this one. It's very similar to the jogging at the beginning, but the mind's a little bit firmer. And so we have to become quiet inside so that we can listen. And the listening is the listening of a hunter, either the hunter or the hunted. Imagine if you're creeping along and you knew that something was trying to hunt you to eat you, you'd be really vigilant. So nervous, like a nervous energy. And so we have those two aspects of the autonomous nervous system, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So the sympathetic nervous system is all to do with danger, so fight or flight. And the parasympathetic nervous system is just about the opposite, that like relaxation. So the sympathetic, they call it fight or flight, and the parasympathetic, they call it fucking and feeding. The two things that you only do if you know you're safe. You know, most of these sort of relaxation, stress management, things like Tai Chi, yoga, Pilates, all of these things, they're sort of working on the parasympathetic nervous system. They're trying to get us to relax and be comfortable and just feel the body's processes. Just let the body do its digesting, basically. It's ruminating. But John's big secret really was that that's only half the story. We need the other. We need the sympathetic nervous system. We need the danger and the spirit as well. And if anything, that's more important. I'm relaxed, but I'm ready. I'm really listening. And then you realize, shit, you know, it's full. This space is just full of creatures. The strongest I ever felt it really was back in Blakeney, and Rita came to stay for the weekend. And John, you know, wouldn't let her stay in the house. So she found a B&B, which is a beautiful place, right up in the hill. And so when it was time for her to go home, like 1 o'clock in the morning, I walked her home, walked her back to the B&B. It's about a 40-minute walk. And then I walked back, and it was cold. It was a winter night. And the stars were out, the moon was out. And as I was walking, you could see the frost appearing on the foliage. So everything was sparkling with moonlight. So it was like intensely alive. And if a car went past, it almost dazzled this reflected light from these fine flakes of ice. And now let's try taking the foot off the ground. So remember, we've got to go around the foot in the right way, the same way we did when we were going backwards and forwards, around the edge. So I place the foot down, sort of big toe. You don't need to do that, but it's just a bit more delicate. And then slowly sneaking around the outside edge and bringing up the other foot to rest on the inside of the knee. So I want to feel like I can settle comfortably down the outside edge. My fear, my nervousness will pull me into the middle, and I'll want to put the other foot down. So I'm skirting around the foot. That, if you like, is like my parasympathetic. And then the inside can then tingle upwards. So I don't have to fall into it. Yeah. So the spirit has to be free. You know, so the pure stream of consciousness without a self, not referring to either subject or object. It's just energy, it's just spirit, and it's just there. And you never know whether it's something that's really there or whether it's there only because of you. Is it inside me? Is it inside my image of the room? Is it in the room? If I left the room, would it still be there? And of course, it's all those things. But this is our function, really. Our function is to wake up and make the world alive. Through our listening, through this intense readiness to respond. So I sneak. You just feel it. The more you listen, the more low down you want to go. So you end up really crouching sort of disappearing inside yourself, but all of your bristles are out. Really, it's almost like you're two people, one that's relaxed, that's settling into the outside edge, and one that's nervous, that's wanting to come onto the inside all the time. This is such a good exercise. Staying balanced on one foot for as long as you can, because you have to keep it going. You can't think about something else, otherwise you'll lose your balance. So it's real concentration, but a listening concentration. So my mind is really focusing in on the point that I'm balancing on. My ears and my hairs, my hackles, my bristles are sticking out like a hedgehog or a durban, a porcupine. Same as when we were going backwards and forwards. One hand is tracing the outside edge, and the other hand can then draw the strength or the energy up from the ground. Shoulders relaxing away from the spine, and then the hips will relax away from the sacrum. Okay, let's bring it back. Yeah, we're sinking. I'm channeling this downward, down my spine, across my hips, and down my legs. Switch the mind to the heart, especially the upper heart. I mean, the heart's quite big. You know, you've got the deep heart here between the nipples, the thymus here just beneath the throat. And then the heart really is like the middle. It's where you'd put your hand if you're going to put your hand on your heart. And we just want to feel that being drawn upwards in exactly the same way that the body is being drawn downwards by gravity. And to get this happening naturally, which it should, I just have to really sink and settle into my sacrum. So that point on the back where the arms cross, when we have the arms crossed, sitting down, if that pushes in a little bit, this will rise and I'll be able to sit down into my sacrum better. But remember, the levity is just in a different dimension to the gravity. Again, it's like you're two different people. You're a person with a body that's being pulled down and a person with a spirit that's being drawn up. They just happen to correspond, occupy pretty much the same space. Just how cheerful would I need to be for this to be constant, endless lift? Could I visualize it strong enough to actually bring me off the ground? The levity, in a sense, it's just the prayer of adoration. It's just you praising God. Remember that definition of prayer that John used to quote of Agrius? Prayer is the lifting of the heart and mind to God in the absence of thoughts. So just really, just this beam upwards, just into entropy, into the vastness of space. Gravity is always trying to pull things together, and levity is always trying to blow things apart. So I embody both of those forces. And then just bring it up. Feel the pull. Like you have a string of elastic pulling at your tailbone from the ground. So you're always being pulled down towards the ground, but also this is always being pulled up.